They topped the charts. Millions of people bought their records. Radio stations couldn't stop playing them. And then, they vanished. Completely. No follow-up hit. No second act. Just one perfect song, and then silence. By the end of this list, you'll know why a Detroit group's entire career hinged on a dream one member had in the middle of the night. You'll know why a heavy rock band from Pittsburgh accidentally became a soul music legend because of one heckler in a nightclub, and you'll understand why the final 2 songs on this countdown are secretly connected through a single singer who was, almost unbelievably, a member of 2 different one-hit wonder groups at the same time. There's also a hidden thread running through this list that connects straight to one of the most famous music documentaries ever made. Stay with me, because that one's genuinely surprising. Let's start the countdown. Number 8. Sanford Townsend Band, Smoke from a Distant Fire, 1977. Ed Sanford and John Townsend were a blue-eyed soul duo out of Alabama. Nobody expected much from them. Then this song happened, a drum-driven intro that grabs you in the first 2 seconds, and a groove that refuses to let go. It climbed all the way to number 9 on the Hot 100, becoming one of the defining soul-pop crossover moments of the year. And then, nothing. No follow-up single ever came close to matching it. The duo quietly dissolved not long after, and Smoke from a Distant Fire became the only proof they ever existed on the charts. One song, one shot. That was it. Number 7. CJ and Company, Devil's Gun, 1977. This one has one of the strangest chart stories in Billboard history. The song wasn't just a hit, it was a hit that couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a hit. It debuted in May 1977 at a lowly 98, then began an 8-week climb toward its peak of number 36. But instead of fading out normally, it reversed direction and climbed back up. Then it fell again. Then it climbed a third time. 3 separate comebacks, all within the same 29-week chart run. A run so unusual that by the time Billboard published its year-end chart, Devil's Gun landed at exactly number 100 for all of 1977, almost as a cosmic joke. There's another detail buried in this story that most people never hear. Devil's Gun wasn't just a chart oddity, it was history in the making. On April 26, 1977, a brand new club called Studio 54 opened its doors in New York City for the very first time. And the first song the DJ ever played inside those walls was Devil's Gun. Later that night, the room filled with the socialites and celebrities who would define an entire era of nightlife. But almost nobody was there yet when that opening track first hit the speakers. Here's a detail that connects this song to something much bigger than disco history. The production team behind CJ and Company was Dennis Coffey and Mike Theodore, 2 Detroit studio veterans with a long track record of hits. Years after this song, that same production duo would go on to work with a singer-songwriter named Sixto Rodriguez, whose long-forgotten albums would eventually become the subject of the Oscar-winning documentary, Searching for Sugar Man. A one-hit wonder from 1977, and one of the most celebrated music documentaries of the 21st century, share the same production fingerprints, decades apart. CJ and Company followed Devil's Gun with Big City Sidewalk the next year, which barely scraped the charts at number 106. It became their only substantial hit. But hold on to one detail here. The group's lead voice on that record shares a name with someone we'll meet again very soon, at the very top of this list. Keep that in mind. Number 6. Karen Young, Hot Shot, 1978. Before this song existed, Karen Young was completely anonymous, a Philadelphia singer who spent years recording jingles and background vocals for local production companies, never once getting her own name on a record label. She'd even performed for years with a group called Sand, going nowhere in particular. Then, in November 1977, songwriters Andy Kahn and Kurt Borushevitz wrote Hot Shot specifically for her. It was recorded that December and hit the streets by summer. It spent 2 weeks at #1 on Billboard's disco chart, an overnight transformation from total unknown to dance floor phenomenon. But the pop charts barely noticed. Hot Shot peaked at only 67 on the Hot 100. Even so, the song refused to disappear completely. It turned up years later on the soundtrack of the 1990 film Reversal of Fortune, and decades after that, French electronic duo Daft Punk sampled it for their track Indo Silver Club. A song that couldn't crack the top 60 of the pop charts ended up quietly influencing music culture for the next 3 decades. When disco started collapsing in the years right after Hot Shot, Young couldn't find her way back into the spotlight. She spent the rest of her life performing locally around Philadelphia. Her very last public performance came at an AIDS benefit concert in September 1990, 4 months before she died unexpectedly of a bleeding ulcer at just 39 years old. One song made her an icon of the disco underground, and nowhere else. We've covered 3 so far, 5 more to go, and the connections between these stories only get stranger from here. Number 5. Vicki Sue Robinson, Turn the Beat Around, 1976. This one hit number 10 on the Hot 100. It charted internationally. By any reasonable measure, it should have launched a real career. Instead, her follow-up single, Common Thief, didn't even crack the Hot 100. She never made it back into the top 60 again. Decades later, the song found new life in unexpected ways. In 1994, Gloria Estefan recorded her own version of Turn the Beat Around, introducing the song to an entirely new generation and taking it back onto the pop charts, under someone else's name. Robinson's original remained the one true version for anyone who knew the history, sampled and referenced for years after, instantly recognizable the second those opening beats hit a dance floor. But Robinson herself never got the encore her voice clearly deserved. One song, Frozen in 1976, is the entirety of her mainstream chart legacy. Number 4. Hot, Angel in Your Arms, 1977. This Southern Soul trio had 3 genuinely gifted vocalists and a song that reached number 6 on the Hot 100. By any measure, that should have been a beginning. Instead, it was the entire story. No follow-up single from Hot ever charted again. Here's the twist almost nobody remembers. The song actually became a hit again, years later, in a completely different genre. In 1985, country star Barbara Mandrell recorded her own version of Angel in Your Arms, and it became a country hit in its own right. The song outlived the group that first made it famous, finding a second life on a completely different chart, in a completely different world of music. We're halfway through, and I promise you, the connections are about to start clicking into place. Why'd you slip around secretly? Number 3. Foxy, Get Off, 1978. Foxy was a Latin disco group built around a musician named Ish Ledesma, who formed the band together with the son of legendary bandleader Tito Puente. Get Off became a top 10 pop smash and topped the R&B chart outright. A minor follow-up single, Hot Number, managed to crack the lower half of the top 40. and then the group disappeared from the charts entirely. Here's the strange footnote almost nobody knows. Foxy's instrumental backing track ended up being used, uncredited, as the foundation for ABBA's Voulez-Vous. One of the biggest pop groups in history built one of their most famous songs on top of a track from a band most people have completely forgotten. And Ledesma himself wasn't finished chasing lightning. Years later, he formed another group entirely, OXO, which scored exactly one hit of its own in 1983 with Whirly Girl. Two different one-hit wonders, built by the same musician, more than 5 years apart, as if he'd figured out how to catch that impossible one-song magic, but never how to hold on to it. Number 2. Wild Cherry, Play That Funky Music, 1976. Wild Cherry was not a funk band, not a soul act. They were a heavy rock band from Pittsburgh, playing to crowds who kept walking off the dance floor the second they picked up their instruments. Disco was taking over, and their sound felt like it belonged to a different decade already. One night, according to guitarist Brian Bassett, a man in the crowd turned to the band's drummer, Ron Beitel, and asked a simple, almost mocking question: "Are you going to play some funky music, white boys?" Beitel relayed the line to frontman Rob Parisi, and something clicked instantly. Parisi grabbed a drink order pad and started writing. By his own account, it took about 5 minutes to write the entire song. 5 minutes. That song went to number 1 on the Hot 100. It topped the charts across multiple countries and became the group's signature hit. A song born from a single sentence, shouted across a dance floor by someone whose name history never bothered to record. A minor follow-up track picked up some airplay overseas, including a small chart placement in New Zealand, but nothing that came remotely close to the original. Play That Funky Music became the only major hit Wild Cherry would ever have. And now, the moment we've been building toward this entire countdown. Number 1. The Floaters, Float On, 1977.
And my name is Red.
This one starts, believe it or not, with a dream. Group founder James Mitchell, a former singer with the Detroit Emeralds, later said the entire concept for Float On came to him while he was asleep. He jumped out of bed in the middle of the night and hummed the melody into a tape recorder so he wouldn't lose it.
Come with me.
With co-writers Arnold Ingram and Marvin Willis, that half-remembered dream became one of the most unlikely hits of the decade. The concept was almost absurdly simple. Each member of the group, Larry Cunningham, Charles Clark, Paul Mitchell, and Ralph Mitchell, introduces himself by name, announces his zodiac sign, and describes the kind of woman he's looking for, in a style closer to a personal ad than a traditional love song. That's essentially the entire structure of the verses. It shouldn't have worked on paper. Here's a detail most fans never learn.
No, I like a woman.
The guitar sound on Float On wasn't an accident either. Producer and guitarist Dennis Coffey. Yes, the same Dennis Coffey connected to CJ & Company's producers back at number 7, handled arrangements for the Floaters session, and helped shape the track's now iconic tone, deliberately chasing the same guitar effect the Dramatics had used on their song In the Rain. Coffey himself was no stranger to Zodiac-themed music, having scored his own hit years earlier with an instrumental called Scorpio. The song barely got a chance at all, even with that pedigree behind it. ABC Records released the album with almost no promotion. It was a single New York disc jockey, playing the record during a break almost on a whim, who lit up the phone lines. A DJ in Cleveland got the same reaction. Only then did the label realize what it was sitting on.
I want you to.
The song became a phenomenon, number 1 on the R&B chart for 6 straight weeks, number 2 on the Hot 100, and number 1 in the United Kingdom. It sold over 1 million copies and went gold. It was parodied by Cheech and Chong under the title Blowed On, and later covered and sampled by hip-hop acts for decades afterward. And then, despite everything, the Floaters never returned to the Hot 100. Not once. Follow-up singles like You Don't Have to Say You Love Me stalled in the 20s on the R&B chart and never crossed over. A song built entirely around introducing yourself became the only introduction the group would ever get on the pop charts. Now, remember that name from a few minutes ago. Charles Libra Clark, the lead voice on Float On, was, according to multiple sources, also connected to CJ and Company, the group behind Devil's Gun, at number 7 on this list. 2 different one-hit wonders from the same city, in the same era, quietly tied together by the same singer. It's one of the strangest coincidences in this entire genre, and almost nobody puts the 2 songs side by side to notice it. 8 songs. 8 groups and artists who each got exactly 1 real shot at the spotlight. Some of them barely got that much. No comeback singles that mattered. No greatest hits tours built on a deep catalog. Just a single perfect record, frozen in time somewhere between 1976 and 1978, still capable of filling a dance floor decades later. If you grew up on these songs, or you're just discovering them for the first time right now, let us know in the comments which one hit you hardest, and whether you ever noticed the connection between numbers 1 and 7 before today. And if you want more forgotten soul and R&B history like this, hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.